throw a dice at Tom, and then we can have some sort of kick-off event. Really, let's build the narrative.
Yeah. Let's just start the podcast with, if you want to abuse someone, let's do it.
If I roll any more bricks, Aaron's going to snap his own neck. So,
okay.
Thinking about this.
Well, we are recording. Just do a little.
Tom, look away. You can't buy any more. You cannot buy any more stuff. You're going to get divorced.
I was looking at the
I suppose you could sell all your stuff.
Bamboo Lab A1 printer. It was on offer.
Not the X1C.
No.
Because
I was thinking,
that's the big one.
I was like, can I slip like £300 under the radar as a self-birthday present, Christmas present?
Mrs. Hobble doesn't listen to this, does she? No. Oh, yeah, all right.
She will be taking notes at the Christmas party, though.
Yeah, I assume so.
So.
Cool. 1, 2, 3. Are we waiting for number 4? Is number 4 coming over? Are you coming over, number 4?
I might have to keep going on.
Oh, you're fine. Just stick a mic on.
That's your cue then to say.
Or you just need to shuffle around a little bit.
Do I?
Yeah, just a little bit. Come on.
We're all friends.
Do you want to sell me this box of Pokemon before you start? Yes, I do.
Oh, see, this is what happens. This is what happens when you try and get a shop person.
Yeah. That's what you just said. Money. That's what it's here for.
Welcome to commerce. What is this? Just commerce.
Yeah.
Capitalism in the face of Blood Bowl disgust.
USA.
Okay. On that note, why don't we just? This has been just a chaotic ramble of a start. Let's play the intro. There we are. Fade into the intro. Just dive in there. Hello everyone, welcome to... I need to look over there, don't I? Hello everyone, welcome to New Dice Please, the bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by the people at BloodbowlLive. My name is Chris. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, describe yourself in one word.
Magnanimous.
Incredible. And we are also joined by Mr. Tom Hobble. Tom, describe yourself in one word.
Unlucky.
I would have gone for myself, adequate. You'll notice that everything looks a little bit different this time. I don't know where... I'm so used to looking at the laptop, I'm just kind of talking down here. But this week we are doing a very special episode where we are doing a focus on our local gaming shop and our local league, the A&DBBL, and the shop, Aardvarks Dragons. I need to stop looking here, this is awful. I'll just do that, there we are, I can't see it now. Therefore, we are joined by the league commissioner, shop owner, Mr. Scott Phipps, who is like hating this.
Oh, absolutely.
That's fine. We can all ignore that that's there now. We can just sit and have a chat. That's fine. I guess it's probably overdue that we're having an episode where we're kind of focusing on the shop and focusing on the league. We don't have massive amounts of your time right now, so we'll focus on the shop instead. I'm just going to hand over to you and ask if you want to tell us about the shop.
No, well, yeah, I set this up because
No.
I set it up because I've always wanted to do it. I live in the area. I was fed up driving miles to go to all the other gaming stores, and so I set my own up. Decided to take the plunge and do it. Blood Bowl was always been a passion of mine, so I wanted to grow the league, and I played it in the other shops. Shout out to Alpha Games in Stanton, where I went and played. Chris, he had a great little league up there which we got going, and then when I came here I was like, yeah, I want to make my own and get it growing, and we did. But we started off very, very small.
So shop's been here for 3 years now?
Just over 3 years, yeah. So.
And Blood Bowl League, A&DBBL, probably a similar length of time, but when was the first league then? Was that 2021?
It was in 2020. Yeah, we opened in August 21, and I think we started pretty much within a couple of months. We started a league. I think there was only 6 or 8 of us in the league, so it was a nice, cosy league. But yeah.
Not to be too pedantic, but I will be pedantic in the nature of things. Would you like to explain to our audience exactly what's the name of the shop, where it is, and how they can get here? So we haven't really mentioned where we are, the name.
Just some minor key details that we decided to leave out.
Aardvarks Dragons, Unit 3, Wistocks.
The full address.
Yeah, we're going to go for the full address on this one.
Get your money's worth here, listener.
Woodbridge, IP12 1FP 0203 972 9828. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well.
It's an interesting location because so many game shops like that you go to and that we've like been to for tournaments and stuff like that and any of that stuff. So many of those game shops that we go to are like on industrial estates or like in the middle of big cities. Whereas you're kind of in a much more like compared to those, you've got higher footfall than the industrial estates, but you've got more you've got kind of more secluded than like a big town. So
it's great, yeah. So I didn't want to open on industrial estate or anything that was similar to stuff before. I always wanted to do something slightly different and attract other sort of games to it as well, not just the Games Workshop. So we chose here because there wasn't anything within 10 miles of us, and I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. There's plenty of gamers to go around with all the stores, so I thought this was a perfect location, and it is. We've definitely outgrown it. We want to get bigger. We need a bigger shop for sure. Our gaming tables are always full. We're always trying to, as you know, booking games in. We're trying to find more and more space to get them in. Hence why we're doing what we're doing today. But yeah, it's different. I didn't want it to be the normal game shop, which I hope it isn't the normal sort of game shop. I wanted it to be much more community based, much more people coming in and enjoying what they do rather than just a shop that you go to out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's one thing we always talk about on the A&DBBL Monday Night Roundup, and we're very passionate about sharing that message on the NDP podcast like tonight, is the community. So personally, and I think everybody says, Scott, one thing you've put in place is the foundations for an amazing community, so a big thank you for that. Just so our listeners and audience are aware as well, you don't just come in for the gaming tables, for obviously the sophistication, the avant-garde,
The ambiance.
Indeed. You don't come in just for all that good stuff, and all of the other gaming systems. It's not just GW or Bloodbowl, although maybe it should be, but we've got pizza next door, we've got coffees over there, you've got, for those of a certain age, you've got a funky bar over there, you've got restaurants, so really it's the destination for all of the family.
It is, and that's what we want. So we do snacks and things in here, but we encourage the community of shops around here for our guys to go out and do it. You can have pizzas and stuff delivered to your table while you're in here gaming, so you don't even have to leave the shop to get food, because we're trying to grow a community down here. How it's grown so well, I don't know, because I am grumpy as anything. But I think that's kind of my patented way.
Is that your USP?
Yeah,
Invisible sod.
So it gives other people things to be cheerful about. They go, oh, it can't be as bad as Scott, so we'll go down to A&D. But yeah, no, it is, but it's not me. I've just given it a place, and we all help each other in a community, and that's the thing. When word spreads and one person gets another person into it. I mean, Chris and I met through D&D, and it's now evolved into this.
I can only apologise for that. Obviously, we all have burdens in life.
Everyone makes mistakes, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It would be so. Obviously, there's you can't quite see to the side of us and kind of on the shot. There's kind of stacks of terrain and stuff for all the other various games that you can play here. So Necromunda, Warcry, 40k, all of that stuff. I would be remiss if I didn't ask some more focus on the A&DBBL questions, because we talk about Blood Bowl every week. So I'm just intrigued to get your kind of opinion, because we're on season 8 now of the A&DBBL. So we're many seasons in. Gone from, like you said, 8 coaches to 32 now, so a massive growth over the last 8 seasons. How have you what's been your kind of view on how it's changed, and what has kept it going up as far as kind of like playing Blood Bowl here, maybe like compared to other places?
Probably the biggest factor of making it grow and everything is you.
No, shut up. No,
and
it's
get
off.
So for those of you who don't know, Chris he's on my local hype man for Blood Bowl.
This sounds like I've set it up.
No, he genuinely hasn't. He hasn't set it up.
I'm getting nods. I didn't
behind the camera.
Not the intention.
Yeah.
Chris has made it was we've discussed many things. We keep bouncing ideas off each other all the time and putting them in. You guys have come along. Then that's grown the New Dice Please side, your podcast side, which is awesome. But all of that then spurs onto each other, and then it just keeps growing and growing, and we all keep talking between us and getting ideas from our players. And I think that's one of the key things, is speaking to our league players and just saying, what do you want for the next season? And that's why every season we try a little bit something different, just to see whether it works or not, and bring it up. This season is our biggest difference out of all the seasons we've ever done. So we'll be able to get some info from that and see whether we can move forward again or not. But I think just growing or staying at 32 is brilliant. It shows that hopefully people are enjoying playing and want to carry on playing.
So season 9, no snotlings. From both of you two.
So not my finest game going.
We've both been on the end of the snotlings this season.
But it's no. I mean, there's always things to look at for every single team. We'll wait for if GW decide to bring an FAQ out this November, which is now going to be December or January, maybe. Then we'll have a look and see what they do, and obviously we'll make changes in that. But right now, everything's going exactly as it is.
Because I've been here for a few seasons, and you've changed them just slightly each season. So, for example, we've had mercenaries, where you just had a kind of free-for-all, and then you had limited mercenaries that you two and others set up at the beginning of the season. So that's quite nice how you've managed to change each of the seasons in a particular way.
Yeah, well, we look at every season, so we'll see what happens, see what was, and we want to eliminate that new player coming in and just getting tranced down and just like, oh, okay, this isn't enjoyable, I'm not going to play anymore. While mercenaries are a part of the game, they are up to the league commissioner whether they're run or not. So, we're gradually, and this season we haven't got them, bar the giant. And I don't think it's made any difference. And what it's making people do is play their teams better and learning how to play their teams. And people aren't getting demolished left, right and centre through no fault of their own. Because some of the parts of the game are broken. Yeah. But it's just whatever we can do to try and make it a better. And we've got some other things lined up for next season which we hope might make that even better for new players.
I think that's the interesting balance, isn't it? Making sure that you want new players to be able to come in, hit the ground running and not be scared off. Yeah. And you also want old players to be able to develop their teams and grow and kind of see the improvement. And it can be difficult to not hinder one while helping the other. So it's finding that balance.
So we've got, looking at the previous champions, the last Elliot and Tom, both of them joined early on in our leagues and got hammered, absolutely destroyed. But they kept coming back, they kept learning, they kept playing, and now they're both champions. So there is an element to being defeated and crushed that actually...
You hear that, Tom?
That makes it...
I'm bringing you down.
Yet, my friend.
He's not being defeated and crushed, he's just rubbish. His dice just won't roll more than a 1. But it's so there is an element, we don't want to take it away. We don't want to say, oh, you can just turn up and never get defeated or never suffer that heavy defeat. I've been beaten 4-6-0, and it kills you. But you then go, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try and play the game.
Yeah. How would you describe people your personal play style for Blood Bowl?
Mine?
Yes.
2-0 defensive. So I'm a very defensive player. I hate conceding touchdowns. I've already conceded more touchdowns this season, I think, than I have in any other season, almost combined. And I will try and break for it and score when I can. But it is my play style is very defensive. No matter what I'm playing, whether I'm playing Bashy, Agile, Tier 3, anything, it doesn't matter.
We know you've got a healthy dislike for pointy-eared, dodgy, agile races as well.
Yep.
Says the wood elf. I feel like this is.
I feel a bit awkward sitting here now.
That's fine.
Make a note, ban L season 9.
Not taking it. What would you say are your top 3 teams, that you've got from Blood Bowl's perspective?
So it's always been Goblins. Has always been my number 1 team. I just love Goblins to bits. Recently, they've released Chorfs, which is another team I've been crying out waiting for since the 80s. And it's now here, so I'm looking forward to playing them next season. But I found an absolute new love in Nurgle. I literally can't wait to play Nurgle again, which will be season 10 or 11. But Nurgle are just my love now, I think.
Have you bought a Nurgle team recently?
Tom's got a Nurgle. We were talking about this earlier.
It's in a box somewhere in the back cupboard. Yeah.
So there are various people coming in all for much more Blood Bowl that's going to be played this evening, which we will seamlessly transition to and talk about in a bit. So before I let you go, Scott, I'm just intrigued to have one kind of last thing as to why come to the shop and why play Blood Bowl here over somewhere else.
I think come to us because I don't care which independent store you go to play. Go and play. Just go and play Blood Bowl. It's brilliant, and you play at any independent store. We all need players. We all need people coming to us. Here, I think we are unique. Our teams are end zones, which you might be able to see in the back there. So you
see like a curtain opening to reveal the pictures behind.
We make it more in-depth. You invest in your team, I think, here. Rather than just turn up to play a game, you're turning up to play your team. And I think it makes such a difference to our league. And that's why I think people should come and play here. Just because the community is just great. You will have bad games, but I don't think you'll have any bad players that you're against. You will always walk away. Yeah, I like the guy I just played with or the lady I just played with, wherever.
Thank you very much, Scott. And thank you from us because NDP and Blood Bowl Live wouldn't exist without this place.
No,
so thank you very much. We're now going to seamlessly transition. How should we do this? Keep doing that. There we are. Okay, seamless transition. Seamlessly transitioned into being here now.
Get with it. Come on.
Does your daughter shake her head in despair at you yet? Have you reached that level of
She's 12. She's been doing that since she was 2. So
congratulations.
10-year anniversary.
You've made it. Well done.
So we are now in Hopsters, which is over the road from the shop. The shop is literally over there. And we are here because we have got the whole place exclusively for us for the evening to play. We've got 8 league games, 2 friendlies all happening here that we've been allowed to have. But so a huge thank you to Hopsters, and please head to Hopsters in Woodbridge or Ipswich or Felixstowe, any of the other locations they've got. For
Colchester as well.
Colchester as well. Many kind of locations for that. But now that we're in here, we've left Scott back there. Let's chat A&DBBL because you both joined the league at the same time, didn't you? For season 5?
I joined season 5, yes.
Season 6.
Season 6?
Yes.
Okay. I've joined season 3, which was only 12 players, I think, at that point. And then the jump up was the season that you both joined. So, Scott, what's your kind of what's your takeaway from the A&DBBL? I appreciate you may not have played in other leagues, but kind of what's kept you in it for the last few seasons?
For me, I discovered Aardvarks Dragons because I was a 40k player. Still am occasionally a 40k player, and I'd just moved to the area looking for somewhere, had boxes to empty and scenery galore. I thought I'd donate to someone. I thought I wanted people to use it. Got into the store, played 40k, and then saw people having lots of fun on Blood Bowl. Never been quite into Blood Bowl in terms of the game itself. But then sort of got sort of slightly badgered into it, and yeah,
That is the unique selling technique.
It is.
I think is the badgering in.
There is a mixture of peer pressure, guilt, emotional roller coaster, all of the above as well, and of course just spending and enjoy painting and modelling as well. Always have done, and always have loved Rats. Always have loved Skaven. Always have this place. If I ever do Age of Sigmar or Old World, want to do Skaven just because they're either going to wipe the opposition off the board or they wipe themselves off the board. Same goes in Blood Bowl. And then Scott, who you'd have seen earlier, he's more than happy to support with practice games and explanations, tutorials, and that's what really got me into it. And what's kept me going is just the breadth of it, the enjoyment, and the community. We always talk about it. It's the community, and yes, I've had 4-0 rub-ins, you've had been pitch cleared. It feels like some days you can't roll anything but a 1 or a double skull continually. And there are some days other people are playing you and you just think, I'm not enjoying this. But you go home and you sort of, strap yourself in and you go again. And that's been the fun thing. And as you mentioned there, Chris, we've gone from like 12 to 32 coaches. And you get to know people, you build a community, and then through the other community, I'm now going to tournaments, now obviously talking about this topic with you guys. So it's really starting to broaden out as well. Plus as well, I think one of the things which is predominant with us is the support around as well. It's been a really support for a lot of individuals, myself included, when you get a few things tough back at the ranch. It's a great place to go in terms of support, getting away for it, just even just to roll some dice. Yeah. And it's really as good as that. So yeah, and me as an Edge coach, Rats and Elves galore.
Tom, same question?
Yeah, so I'm probably a little bit different to the pair of you because you live quite close.
Yes, and you travel quite a distance and also played previously elsewhere.
Yeah,
as well.
So I basically got back into it. I used to paint back in the 90s as a kid and stuff like that. COVID came around and I wanted a hobby, and I thought, well, let's start painting. And then I thought, well, let's choose something where I can limit the teams, because obviously the likes of Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000, you can just keep buying and buying and buying. And yes, I do buy and buy and buy Blood Bowl, but you can contain it to at least 16 players. And where I live, I'm smack bang in the middle of a number of places I could go to, each 45 minutes away. So I started off in another league, 45 minutes away, but then I got turned to, after that finished, to moving here and found this place purely by chance. That come to Woodbridge, beautiful place anyway. Yeah. Lots of places to go walk and everything like that, and bring the family. And found that. Started speaking to Scott, explained where I'd previously been. And the great thing about Aardvarks Dragons is the accessibility. There was the one thing about the other place was that they only limited to playing games on a Friday, and also the fact was that there was always the last minute cancellation. Yeah. And for me, being 45 minutes away, that's a bit of crummy, it's a whole evening gone. Equally, here, there's a lot more variety of people. So the skill set is quite diverse. Yeah. We mentioned previously that you've got, people who want to play and people who just want to have a kind of, who are just starting playing. We've also got a third element. We've got the casual player, the people who like to just play for the fun of it. You mentioned about the camaraderie, the friendships that have grown up around here, and you can get that. Other places that I've played,
just to confirm, I am contractually obliged to say that at this point.
Other places I've played, be it league or tournament, you get that type of person who always wants to win and is playing the meta. You might have some people like that here, but they play it in a nice way. So that's kind of where I got it from.
I think there's an interesting point that I think is, I know some people see it as a negative. I see it as a positive in the flexibility as to when you play. And I know that some people like having one day where they know everyone's there on that day and you get to meet everyone. And that's why I think days like today, where we're going to fill this place out with Blood Bowl players, is going to be really, really good. And it gets everyone together, and that's really nice. But I think you're right, having the flexibility that, if a Thursday night doesn't work for you, you don't have to play on a Thursday night, is a real benefit. So I think a combination of the two of play when you want and have some organised days is a good balance.
But the other thing I do also say is you have got the flexibility, but you do, yourself and Scott, keep it to a tight deadline. So that so equally I've heard of other people, other friends who play Blood Bowl in other leagues, and their leagues go on for a long time.
Yeah.
Especially if they go over summers or whatever, and there's no one really controlling it. And sometimes, that's the person who's running the team, running the league, sometimes feels that kind of, I don't want to be that person bullying everyone.
Yeah.
There's an understanding that, yes, people want to play games. People also realise they've got work outside of Blood Bowl and lives outside of Blood Bowl. I don't know how they have that. But there is also that fact that we want to get to the end as well.
Yeah. We are slowly going to have this place start to fill with Blood Bowlers. So I feel like we should probably start to wrap up before it's too full. However, there are some Blood Bowlers in the room, and I'm wondering whether if I pick on them, I think if I pick on them, they will just they will wander over. Come over. So we're going to invite some players to just give us a quick word on kind of what they like about it.
Where should we sit?
Scott, if you could shuffle up next to Scott, and Scott, if I could ask you to hand your microphone over, you want to go between them? If you can fit, go in. Hand the microphone over. And Simon, why don't you tell us? Why don't you?
There's two Simons.
But I'll put you in a sec, Simon.
I'm in. I've made it really awkward.
That's fine. Welcome. Why don't you just tell us? Why play here, and what do you like about the league?
There we go, cool. So I caught the end of your guys' podcast and you talked to Scott about that, and I was listening, and I said immediately it's that I've always said the community in this league is amazing. So the community is so nice for everyone. Everyone's welcoming and warming, but I think Scott himself really tethers that community down.
Yeah.
So I told a story once you finished with Scott of this is my second season, and I took an absolute whopping in the first season against a very, very experienced player. First Black Orc team was mine. He had a very skilled up team. Nanny is the sort of one of the demons that haunt our league.
Chaos Chosen.
Yeah, Chaos Chosen.
Yeah.
Very bashy, very murdery, and I just made errors because I was inexperienced, and just got absolutely mullered. And I said, Scott, let the game happen, because I think the league and the players respect the idea of not trying to interfere with a game that's live, that people are playing. You can't really tread on toes there, it's going to create bad feeling. But he watched it happen, and he saw me my face was falling, I was a bit that was really rough. But literally on the way out the shop, just went past the till, and he just caught me for 30-second conversation. It was just they're not all like that. Everyone that's played Blood Bowl has had a game where it's gone all wrong and everything sucked, and you felt like you did everything wrong. Oftentimes it wasn't much you did wrong, you just did bad dice. Sometimes it is something you did wrong, but he just propped me up a little bit and made me go, oh, that's not going to be every time, and made me feel better. And we've all, if you war game, if you play tabletop games, there are games you walk away from going, that really sucked.
Yeah.
And that was no fun at all. But the nice part about it is it builds that resilience, but Scott is always there and just scoops up anything like that and just lets you know you're not the only person that's happened to.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be that way, and it will be fun in another game and next time. And that just, for me personally, made me go, turned that entire game and that experience around from just a real it sucked, I sucked, that was miserable, to it's something that happens, and it's a lesson we should all learn when we play games.
Absolutely.
And I'm 33. It's not I should have learned that lesson a long time ago. But we've got egos, haven't we? And we want to win, and we play games because we like winning.
Yeah.
But it was just a really nice moment, and it's one I want to share on the podcast. Just Scott's brill for that.
No, I think that's right, and that's very well said, because it's one thing to get absolutely destroyed. It's another thing to be able to still leave thinking that that's not the way it's always going to be. Yeah, and Scott is very good at reassuring.
There is hope. There is always hope.
Yeah.
No matter how much you've been trounced or how many you don't have on the pitch, there is always hope. Yeah. I think our audience, I suppose, can see because his microphone. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
We can snuggle.
Have a little just to say, if people on the YouTube and when this goes out, the apparel that Simon is, carrying on today.
Putting the effort in.
It's mandatory.
I mean,
Yeah, there is a compulsory dress code, and Sundays are black tie. So
We'll discuss this though, because I've played one game in a suit and 2 games in a suit and 1 game in like my grungy trackies and an old t-shirt, and I've won and rolled hot in the grungy t-shirt, and I've lost 2 in the suit.
So you're going to suck today.
I have a theory, and I'm a science teacher, so I have a theory that the suit is influencing the dice.
And as a science teacher, if a science teacher, one of the pillars of our society and our community, educating the next generation, if they think it's a definite correlation between dress wear and dice rolls,
I think so.
It's got to be.
I've brought my grungy clothes, so if at half time it's going wrong, I'm going to do a costume change and see if it changes the dice rolls.
in action.
So I'm going to empirically test my theory.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, we've got the place filling out, so we're going to call it there. So, Scott, I'm going to hand over to you to tell people where to, how to get into contact, and then you can hand over to Tom to tell people, or you've got your own, as to what else we've got going on. So go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. So, like Simon, if you... He's going to start charging bloody royalties, isn't he? If you want to get hold of us talking about your local Blood Bowl community, what's good, what you think would be good, take lessons from Aardvarks and Dragons, whether it's pizza, beer, or the general community, just email us. So that's newdiceplease, all one word, all lowercase, newdiceplease @gmail.com. And Tom, if they want to see more of us, listen to more of us,
Absolutely.
get engaged more, how can they do that?
Yep, so we're on Instagram on New Dice Please. We have all our posts. Please interact with us on there. Put your comments and thoughts around ideas potentially for new episodes. Also, we are on Spotify and I believe also Amazon podcast.
Everywhere you get your
Everywhere
podcasts
you get your
at this point.
podcast.
Everywhere you get your podcasts.
And finally on YouTube under BloodbowlLive.
Awesome. Scott, thank you very much. Tom, thank you very much. Everyone who's been on today, Aardvarks and Dragons and Hopsters, thank you very much. We have been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time.